Hey everybody, so we're starting a new unit today, Unit 9, solving quadratics. So last Unit 8 was all about graphing those parabolas, talking about axis of symmetry, y-intercept, x-intercepts, all that kind of stuff. Excuse me. In this unit, we're going to actually be solving them, and there's going to be some really crucial concepts in here that you're going to have to know for future math classes. We're going to go back to factoring. We're going to introduce stuff about like square roots and stuff. It's going to be very, very important. So I want to make sure that you are filling out your notes on separate sheets of paper, asking me questions as they come up, making sure we do our work. So, x-intercept. It's a vocab word we talked about before, okay? We were finding x-intercepts, and sometimes they were nice when we were graphing quadratics. Sometimes they were really messy, and we had to use our calculators to find them. In this unit, we're going to find algebraic ways to find those x-intercepts so we don't have to use our graphing calculators, okay? But first, we have to know that x-intercepts have a bunch of different names, okay? X-intercepts can be called solutions. Solutions to a quadratic. They can be known as zeros. Do you remember in our graphing calculators, we had to hit the 0 button in order to find them? Zeros. Or they can also be known as roots. This last one I don't use a whole lot, but just in case you see it, it's talking about the x-intercept. And remember, the x-intercept is talking about where it crosses the x-axis. So when we're dealing with quadratics, there are several different number of solutions that we could have. We could have 2 if it crosses the x-axis twice. We could have 1, and that's going to be called a double root. And you'll see why later, okay? But that's a double root because that one solution is acting as 2 different solutions. Or we could have no real solutions, which means it never crosses the x-axis. We can't determine what they actually are right now in Algebra 1, okay? That'll be for a future class. So, first off, let's just determine how many solutions exist, and if they're nice values, let's state them. So, A, how many times does it cross the x-axis? It crosses it once right here. So there is one real solution. That's going to be our double root. Okay. And then we got to figure out what does the x equal. X equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. X equals -7. X equals -7. So that is the amount of solutions for that quadratic. Now let's look at B. We see that there are 2 real solutions. And if I'm going to zoom in so you can see this a little clearer, it isn't quite at -5, and this isn't quite at 0. Okay? So we can't determine what they are. So we can't determine exactly what they are. We would need our graphing calculators, or if we wait a couple days and to get into this unit, we're going to figure out an algebraic way to figure out what those values are. But we can tell that there are 2 real solutions. All right, and then for C, you'll notice, I'll zoom back out. You'll notice in C, it never crosses the x-axis. So there are no real solutions here. Okay, so there are no real solutions. So if I look then at the next one, example 2, these are going to act as your you try now problems. I'm going to have a quiz in Schoology for you to do your work on these, just to find the zeros. What do x equal? Okay, you'll notice x equals a nice number if there are solutions, so you'll be able to type those into Schoology. So that's kind of our intro into this unit. We are going to be finding those x-intercepts, but we aren't always going to be looking at a graph. That's the graphical representation of what they are the x-intercepts, where they cross the x-axis. But we're going to find some algebraic methods in order to find what those values are.